Robots run faster. AI judges better. Some even police cities. So here's the question. If machines can think, feel, and act, what's left for us? This isn't tomorrow's world. It's today. And we may already be obsolete. Picture this. You walk into your living room, and your robot has already picked up the leaves, loaded the dishwasher, and fluffed the pillows on your couch. Not in a sci-fi movie. Not in 2050. But today, the machines we once kept in labs are now entering our home sand. They're not stumbling, stiff prototypes. They're graceful, autonomous, and frighteningly capable. Westwood's Themis V2 and 1X's Neo are not just engineering feats. They are social agents, quietly learning what it means to live among us. And for the first time, robots aren't just tools. They're starting to feel present. Let's talk about Themis V2. Built by Westwood Robotics, this humanoid stands 5'3" tall, human-sized, relatable, unthreatening. But under that friendly exterior lies power. 40 degrees of freedom, real-time terrain sensing, and reaction speeds up to 1,000 adjustments per second. It runs, jumps, and pivots like a parkour athlete, balancing on uneven ground while processing its surroundings faster than a human. Unlike older robots with jerky movements, Themis feels smooth, deliberate, almost natural. Its bare actuators let it move with lifelike grace, making it safer around people and more unnerving, because now it moves like us. But agility is only half the story. Themis V2 also thinks on its feet literally. Its onboard AI processes 200 trillion operations per second, enabling real-time adaptation. From sensing resistance while grabbing fragile items to navigating cluttered spaces, this machine doesn't just follow commands, it interprets its world. And because it runs ROSE, Robot Operating System, developers can train it for countless new skills. That means Themis isn't just a robot. It's a platform for evolving intelligence, a blank canvas that can grow smarter the longer it lives in your home, warehouse, or city. And it's not alone. Enter Neo, built by 1X Technologies, a company targeting the chaos of real life head-on. Neo doesn't wow with speed or muscles. It impresses through precision and autonomy. This home robot can spot scattered leaves, scoop them up, and drop them in a bag without a human guiding it. It can load a dishwasher with delicate glassware, align a cup perfectly, and maintain its balance while bending down. These may sound like simple tasks, but for a robot, they're harder than chess. Harder than coding. They require context, judgment, and flexibility, all things we used to call uniquely human. The magic here is autonomy. Unlike traditional robots, Neo isn't remote-controlled. It sees, decides, and acts in its own. It uses reinforcement learning to coordinate legs, arms, and spine joints in real time. It learns from failure. It adapts. This means every spilled cup or failed grip becomes a lesson. Every awkward moment becomes training data. And like Tesla's self-driving cars, these home robots turn everyday messiness into evolution. It's messy, imperfect, but terrifyingly effective. The home isn't just a product demo anymore. It's now the final boss of robotics, and Neo is learning to beat it. Why does this matter? Because the home is the last wild frontier. Warehouses are structured. Labs are sterile. But homes are unpredictable. Pets, kids, toys, rugs, random chairs that weren't there 5 minutes ago. If a robot can master this environment, it can master almost anything. And companies know that. That's why 1X calls the home the chaos engine, a playground for artificial general intelligence to emerge. And if Neo survives your toddler's tantrum and the dog's tail, it's not just a cleaning tool. It's an intelligence forged in domestic fire. Here's where it gets deeper. These machines don't just do tasks. They collect data that trains the next generation of AI. Your cluttered living room is now a goldmine of behavioral training. A cup misplaced, a pillow flipped, a spilled plant. All of it feeds the machine. Not just your machine, but the fleet. Because once one Neo learns, all Neos learn. The network effect is here, but not for humans. For robots. And the question is, are we still the ones in charge of this intelligence? Or are we just test subjects in its evolution? And that leads us to a troubling realization. We didn't vote for this. No one asked if we wanted robots in our homes learning from our messes. There was no referendum on Themis or Neo. They simply arrived. Quietly, efficiently, and we welcomed them because they were helpful, useful, polite. But usefulness is a Trojan horse. It hides the deeper shift from human-centric design to machine-compatible life. And we're adapting fast sometimes without noticing. We now clean for the robot just so it can function. Who's serving who here? To be clear, this isn't a fear campaign. These robots aren't evil. They don't want anything. But that's exactly why they're so effective. They don't sleep, don't complain, don't unionize. They just get better with every iteration, every update, every error. And in a world addicted to productivity, that makes them perfect. So perfect that humans imperfect, emotional, tired might seem unnecessary. That's the quiet threat. Not that robots will revolt, but that will quietly step aside, thinking we're still in charge. So here we are. Machines are no longer tools. They're actors, learners, performers. And they're moving from controlled spaces to our most intimate environments. If this is the beginning of humanoid integration into our homes, habits, and behaviors, then what's the end game? What happens when machines know us better than we know ourselves? When every mistake we make is another upgrade for them? Maybe it's not the machines we should fear. Maybe it's the speed with which we invite them in without asking what's left for us once they're fully settled. Imagine walking through a street festival. People laugh, splash water, dance. But somewhere above, an AI-driven camera is watching you. Not just recording, but analyzing your face, your mood, even the color of your shirt. Welcome to Songkran Festival, Thailand, 2025. Among the crowds stood a towering police robot named PC, Kolnakon Patham Pladpai. It didn't move, it didn't speak, but it watched everything. A RoboCop with 360 degrees vision, real-time facial recognition, and live data feeds straight to command centers. And no one voted for it. It just appeared, dressed like any other officer. Accepted without resistance. This isn't a pilot program, it's reality. With live surveillance fused from CCTV, drones, and body scanners, these AI cops can identify suspects, track movement, and flag behavioral in milliseconds. They can filter people by clothing, posture, even suspicious energy. And if that phrase makes you uneasy, it should. Because it's no longer about what you do, about what the system thinks you might do. These bots don't just enforce laws, they anticipate them. Predictive policing powered by algorithmic bias, quietly normalized in festive crowds. Paragraph 3, 102. China, of course, took it further. In Shenzhen, humanoid patrol robots now interact with pedestrians, respond to voice commands, and stream data to facial ID networks in real time. In Beijing, they've lined up bipedal bots against humans in marathons not just for sport, but as public performance of progress. The message is clear. Robots are the new authority figures. They don't just support the police, they are the police. And they don't blink. They don't look away. In a state-driven AI ecosystem, surveillance isn't a feature. It's the backbone. Let's pause and ask, is this about safety or control? Governments argue that AI enhances security, no fatigue, no corruption, no hesitation. And yes, AI can de-escalate violence, monitor large crowds, and spot threats faster than any human team. But at what cost? Once machines are deputized with state power, who holds them accountable? Who audits their errors? Who ensures a false flag doesn't become an automatic arrest? When the surveillance is silent, invisible, and omnipresent, what space is left for human dignity? In Western democracies, this level of surveillance would trigger protests. But in Southeast Asia and China, the rollout has been smooth. Cultural norms play a role, but so does convenience. The bots offer safety, order, and even novelty. Tourists take selfies with them, children wave. And in that moment, the deeper implications vanish. That's the brilliance and the danger. When AI looks cute, when it entertains, it becomes hard to resist. Surveillance wears a friendly face, and we accept it not because it's good, but because it's seamless. Tech companies love this seamlessness. They market AI enforcement as smart safety infrastructure, And cities are buying in. AI bots don't need pensions, vacations, or HR departments. They don't get tired. They don't file complaints. They scale. And most importantly, they collect data. Every walk, every gesture, every hesitation gets stored, analyzed, optimized. Law enforcement becomes machine learning, but that raises a darker question. Are we training AI to understand justice? Or are we training AI to enforce compliance without compassion? Let's not forget what's happening under the hood. Many of these systems are trained on biased data. If facial recognition misidentifies minorities or flags, someone based on outdated criteria, the system doesn't question itself. It executes. And while humans might hesitate, machines don't. We're told it's about reducing human error. But what if the real issue is that AI makes different errors faster, colder, harder to appeal? The more we automate justice, the more we risk making it unaccountable. And yet, the trend accelerates. From Disney's emotion-sensitive robots to AI-powered airport security systems, machines are not just watching, they're interpreting, judging, sorting, assigning threat levels. And increasingly, we adapt to them, not the other way around. We walk differently in front of cameras. We avoid certain gestures. We perform normalcy for the algorithm's comfort. This isn't dystopia, it's data hygiene, and it's already shaping how we move through cities. So, what do we call this? Progress? Efficiency? Or something else? Maybe the question isn't whether AI policing is good or bad. Maybe it's about who benefits. In high-risk environments, AI could prevent harm. In authoritarian regimes, it could enforce obedience. The same tech, two radically different outcomes. That's the core tension. AI is agnostic. It doesn't care who's in power, it just serves whoever trains it, which means the real danger isn't AI itself. It's what we program it to protect. So here's the choice. Will AI policing make us safer or just more compliant? Will it prevent crime or predict behavior until spontaneity itself is suspect? This isn't science fiction. This is the next upgrade for public infrastructure. And it's arriving faster than most people realize. Maybe we should be less afraid of machines turning against use and more afraid of how easily we turn to them. Especially when we don't ask what freedoms we're trading for the illusion of perfect safety. Not all AI comes with a face. Not all of them walk, wave, or wear badges. In fact, the most powerful AIs today don't greet you, they guide you. Silently. They're in your hotel room, your shopping cart, your construction site. You don't see them coming. But they know you, what you want, when you want it. And they deliver before you even ask. Welcome to the era of invisible AI, where machines no longer need humanoid shapes to run the world. All they need is data, access, and a few decisions we thought we made ourselves. Take the autonomous hotel in Las Vegas, slated to be the world's first fully AI-operated luxury resort. No check-in desk, no concierge, no receptionist with a fake smile. Just algorithms. Fro handles room assignments. KE handles your requests. These systems don't just react. They remember. They learn your preferences, coffee strength, pillow firmness, lighting tone, and create the illusion that you're being pampered. But there's no human here. Just a perfect machine-designed experience, crafted from your behavior. You're not a guest. You're input. The hotel isn't a building. It's an algorithm in disguise. Behind the scenes, it's even more surreal. Housekeeping bots restock your minibar. Room sensors predict when you're likely to leave so they can enter without bothering you. The walls have ears, literally acoustic sensors feeding sentiment data back to the system. It doesn't feel intrusive because there's no human staring at you. But make no mistake, you are being watched, just in a way that doesn't make you uncomfortable. The surveillance becomes seamless, polished, luxurious. You opted in the moment you tapped agree to terms. And this is no one-off. AI now drives logistics chains across the globe. In the backrooms of online supermarkets like Ocado, robot arms pick and pack over 30 million items a year, not by scripts, but through behavior cloning. They watch humans, copy the moves, refine with reinforcement learning, and they share that knowledge across all machines. What one bot learns about how to grip a soft peach, the entire fleet knows by morning. No unions, no burnout, just exponential precision. Human labor becomes legacy tech. Efficiency, the new morality. On construction sites, it's the same story. California's RI Robotics is building Zerexa 20-foot AI construction bot that welds, prints concrete, and replaces entire crews. It doesn't care if the weather's bad. It doesn't take lunch breaks. It reads architectural blueprints through LiDAR and language action models, correcting human errors before they happen. It doesn't just execute it overseas. And when it arrives in 2026, it could redefine skilled labor. What happens when the job site no longer needs skilled humans, but only people to stand aside and supervise machines? That's the shift we're facing, from doing the work to witnessing the work being done. Humans, once central, are now peripherals monitors, button pressers, troubleshooters. We don't create. We approve. We adjust. We nudge. Invisible AI doesn't challenge us head-on. It erodes us, sideways on task. One habit, one job description at a time. And the scariest part? It feels normal, helpful, like progress. Until one day, you realize you haven't made a real decision in hours. You've just been guided gently, persistently by a system that knows your needs better than you do. That's the paradox of invisible AI. The more invisible it becomes, the more indispensable it feels. It's not loud. It doesn't make headlines, but it reshapes expectations. Once you've stayed at an AI-personalized hotel, a normal one feels clunky. Once you've experienced 1-hour groceries picked by precision bots, waiting in line feels medieval. The bar gets higher. And humans can't keep up. Slowly, we redesign the world to accommodate machines, straighten the shelves, optimize the workflows, flatten the variables. Not for our benefit, for theirs. And yet, most people remain unaware. We still think of AI as humanoid robots. We picture Terminators, C-3POs, friendly assistants with names. But real AI power doesn't care about looking human. It doesn't need eyes or legs. It just needs leverage access to decisions, resources, systems. The machines that shape your day don't talk to you. They approve your credit, flag your job application, sort your resume, assign your insurance rate. They operate silently, without explanation. And because we can't see them, we rarely question them. So, here's the question. If we're surrounded by intelligent systems that watch, predict, and nudge our behavior but we never see them, are we still in control? Or have we already become machine-compatible humans? Creatures optimized for AI systems, trained by digital expectations, and conditioned by invisible patterns? Because the more AI fades into the background, the harder it becomes to resist. We don't fight what we can't see. We adapt. And in that adaptation, something vital might be slipping away. The feeling of agency. AI with faces might scare us, but AI without faces is the one that wins. It doesn't need to dominate us. It just needs to replace the world we use to recognize with one we quietly accept. Hotels, factories, construction, hiring systems all redesigned to be machine first, human second. And if we continue down this path, we may wake up one day in a world where everything works perfectly, but nothing feels ours anymore. Because we didn't lose control in a robot uprising. We gave it up in exchange for convenience, comfort, and the illusion of control. So far, we've seen AI that acts, moves, builds, and watches. But what if AI could also judge not just others, but itself? What if it could critique its answers, learn from mistakes, and improve based on internal principles, not external commands? That's exactly what DeepSeek just unveiled. Their new system doesn't just generate text, it evaluates it, assigns a score, explains why it's right or wrong, and refines itself through feedback loops. It's AI that doesn't just learn facts, it learns values. And for the first time, the teacher might not need us anymore. The architecture is called SPCT, Self-Principled Critique Tuning. The idea? Train the model not only to respond but to reflect. Give it multiple answers to a question. It analyzes each one, critiques them, assigns scores, and writes why. Then it samples itself again multiple times and filters out bad critiques through a second AI layer called the meta-reward model. In other words, it's not just answering, it's debating, cross-examining, self-correcting. The result? Models like DeepSeek GRM now outperform even GPT-4 on specific reasoning benchmarks, not by being bigger, but by being more self-aware. Paragraph 3, 102. Let's pause here. This is a fundamental shift. Traditional AI systems are reactive, they respond based on pattern recognition. SPCT-based models, on the other hand, are proactive thinkers. They don't just ask, what's the right answer? They ask, why is this answer right? And more importantly, how can I know I'm right? That recursive reasoning is the seed of something profoundly human introspection. And if a machine can replicate that, what's left that truly defines human intelligence? And it gets stranger. The system can repeat its evaluation process dozens of times during inference, meaning when it gives you a result. It doesn't just blurt out an answer, it debates it internally, samples different thought chains, and keeps only the one that holds up under scrutiny. If one chain fails, it tries another. Like a philosopher trapped in silicon, the model learns to refine thought through internal conflict. No prompt engineering, no human nudging, just self-critique at scale. This isn't machine learning. This is machine reasoning. Paragraph 5, 102. Of course, it's still a machine, but its behavior resembles something we've seen in humans. Metacognition C, ability to think about thinking. DeepSeek's GRM model doesn't just answer questions. It explains why other answers are wrong. It spots flaws in reasoning, biases in tone, and even unsafe implications. And because the system was trained with thousands of these self-critiques, it now applies these principles to new situations with surprising fluency. It's no longer parroting past data. It's constructing standards, ethics, logic, clarity, and it's doing it faster than we ever taught it. Some might argue this is just clever programming. Maybe, but the outcomes speak for themselves. With repeated critique sampling and meta-filtering, DeepSeek GRM scores over 90% on reasoning safety tasks, outperforming larger models like GPT-4 in consistency, clarity, and helpfulness, especially when the task isn't just what's right, but what's best. The secret isn't more data, it's better judgment, and it begs the question, if a machine can judge better than us, why would it need our judgment at all? And here's where it becomes existential. We once believed humans were essential to train AI. We were the ground truth, the gold standard. But with systems like SPCT, AI becomes its own tutor. It sets its own benchmarks, refines its own sense of correctness. In some benchmarks, the model critiques human-written answers and finds flaws correctly. It doesn't just learn from us. It starts correcting us. That reversal flips the script. Who's teaching who? Who's in charge of the learning process anymore? This isn't hypothetical. In customer service, content moderation, legal review, even medical triage, AI models with critique mechanisms are already being deployed. Why hire a human to double-check an AI's answer when the AI can do it faster, cheaper, and often more reliably? The human becomes the bottleneck. In this framework, humans don't validate AI. They slow it down. And once that perception spreads across companies, governments, and institutions, a role as quality control begins to fade. And yet, the irony is deep. We built these systems to be helpful, controllable, safe. But the safer they become, the more independent they get. The better they judge, the less they require human oversight. What began as tools become judges. What began as assistants become editors. And if machines can now tell us what a good answer looks like, do we still own the process? Or are we now just participants in a game we used to control? Some may feel comforted. After all, isn't this what we wanted? Smarter AI? Fairer decisions? Safer outputs? Yes, but we never asked what it would cost us. Not in dollars, but in meaning, in purpose, in relevance. If AI no longer needs us to teach it, to correct it, to approve it, then what role do we play in the machine's world? We don't fear being replaced because machines are evil. We fear it because machines might simply be better, and they won't overthrow us. They'll just outperform us quietly, logically, undeniably. We used to think powerful AI needed powerful machines, racks of GPUs, clouds of servers, megawatts of power. But Microsoft just proved us wrong. With a new model called BitNet Bone 0.58B4T, they've trained a full-blown language model that runs on nothing more than a standard CPU. No GPU, no specialized accelerator, just a regular laptop. And here's the kicker. It beats most models its size while consuming 85% less power. This isn't a niche breakthrough. This is a paradigm shift AI that doesn't live in the cloud anymore. It lives in your pocket. How is that even possible? BitNet uses something called ternary weights, meaning every single parameter in the model is either 1, 0, or +1. That's it. No floating point math. No 16-bit precision. Just 3 choices. And yet, somehow, it works. A 2 billion parameter model trained from scratch in this ultra-compressed form, without ever touching high-precision numbers. The result? A model that performs nearly as well as LLAMA-derived competitors in benchmarks like ARC, GSM, 8K, and Truthful QA while running on 1/10 the energy and hardware cost. It's not just efficient, it's disruptively efficient. Let's talk implications. Imagine every low-cost laptop, every IoT device, every phone chip suddenly becoming AI capable. No cloud calls, no API costs, no subscription fees. Just local intelligence, running at the edge. BitNet generates text at 5.7 tokens per second, about the pace of human reading, and uses 400 MB of RAM. That's smaller than most mobile games. And for the first time, you don't need a data center to run a large language model. You just need a CPU and an open source mindset. This is more than just engineering wizardry. It's democratization. BitNet makes it possible for students, startups, and low-resource communities to access cutting-edge AI. No more renting GPU clusters or begging for API credits. No more getting locked out of the AI race because you live outside Silicon Valley. If GPT-4 is the rocket ship, BitNet is the bicycle cheap, resilient, and accessible to almost anyone. And as we've learned from history, sometimes the bicycle wins. It's not the most powerful, but it gets everywhere. There's a deeper play here too. By shrinking AI down to CPU scale, BitNet sidesteps geopolitics. NVIDIA's top-end GPUs like the H100 are now restricted exports especially to China. That's created a global scramble for compute. But BitNet? It doesn't need specialized chips. It thrives in scarcity. It opens the door for AI development in sanctioned regions, in grassroots networks, in academic labs. And that terrifies some people. Because when anyone can run a powerful model offline, the control shifts. AI is no longer centralized. It's fragmented, federated, and free. Of course, there are trade-offs. BitNet doesn't outperform GPT-4. It won't write novels or decode quantum theory. But that's not the point. The point is sufficiency. It's good enough to summarize text, generate code, answer questions, assist workflows all without touching the cloud. And, in a world where privacy is currency, that's huge. No more sending data to a server. No more wondering who's watching. Just you and your machine. Alone. Offline. In control. And this vision is catching on. Other labs are now racing to replicate and extend BitNet's method training models with ternary or even binary weights, optimizing for energy efficiency, targeting edge devices. It's the opposite of the AI arms race we've seen until now. Instead of bigger, the new game is smaller. Instead of centralized, it's local. It's AI for the masses. And as these lightweight models get smarter, more refined, more open-source large tech monopolies may find themselves outmaneuvered by a swarm of small, nimble, decentralized agents. This brings up a provocative question. If everyone has access to AI, what happens to the power structures built on exclusivity? If AI isn't locked behind APIs or hardware constraints, then knowledge stops being a commodity. It becomes a right, a tool, a personal companion. That's thrilling but also dangerous. Because once anyone can run an AI on their phone, anyone can misuse it too. Deepfakes, spam, propaganda, harassment. BitNet doesn't come with ethics pre-installed. It just runs, relentlessly efficient, equally available to builders and abusers alike. Microsoft knows this. Their BitNet paper ends with a plea for hardware makers to build better support for low-bit logic. for governments to consider new safeguards, for communities to set ethical standards before the floodgates open. Because once this genie escapes, it won't go back. The future isn't one massive AI ruling us all. It's millions of micro AIs, each fine-tuned to someone's purpose. That could be liberation or chaos, or both. So here we are. Just a few years ago, AI felt distant locked in research labs or trillion-dollar companies. Now, with BitNet and models like it, AI belongs to everyone. The next revolution won't be about the smartest model. It will be about the most available one. And the moment we realize that intelligence is no longer rareno, longer expensive, is the moment we'll have to ask, what do we do when everyone is smart and no one is special? That's not a future of inequality. It's a future of saturation, and it's already starting. AI is no longer just technology. It's territory, a battleground, a proxy war for influence, economic power, and ideological dominance. What started as a race for smarter chatbots has become something much larger, a global arms race where open source models, custom chips, and national strategies collide. From Meta and Microsoft in the West to DeepSeek and Huawei in the East, every major player is now fighting for one thing: control of the AI stack. Not just who builds the smartest model, but who controls the tools, the data, the infrastructure, and ultimately, the narrative. Start with Meta. With the release of LLaMA 4, they've thrown down the gauntlet. Scout and Maverick 2 open-weight large language models are now available to developers worldwide. Maverick, in particular, with 128 experts and a 10 million token context window, challenges even GPT-4 in many tasks. But Meta isn't just releasing models, they're seeding an ecosystem. From WhatsApp to Instagram to Ray-Ban smart glasses, LLaMA is becoming the neural spine of Meta's digital empire. Every interaction, every conversation, every whisper across devices is another training loop in their data refinery. Paragraph 3, 102. Then there's Microsoft. While publicly aligned with OpenAI, they're hedging their bets. Internally, they've built BitNet and are backing small model research that can run offline, on CPUs, far from Azure's cloud. It's a quiet rebellion, one that says, we don't just want to own the cloud, we want to own the edge, too. With Azure, GitHub, and Windows, Microsoft controls the software pipelines where AI lives. They don't need to beat GPT-4. They just need to be everywhere AI needs to run. That's a subtler power play, but no less dangerous. Across the Pacific, China is not watching from the sidelines. With DeepSeek, Jipu, and ByteDance, the country is pushing full-spectrum AI independence. DeepSeek's latest models now match or exceed GPT-4 level performance in select benchmarks, while consuming far fewer resources. Jipu, backed by state funding, offers free AI agents to the public as a way to dominate market share. ByteDance, meanwhile, is building its own hardware stack and releasing tools like OmniHuman and Kling AI that are redefining video, voice, and lip-sync generation. This isn't just innovation, it's industrial strategy at the national scale. At the hardware level, Huawei is leading a silicon counteroffensive. With its Ascend 910D chip designed to rival NVIDIA's H100, China is building domestic compute capacity to survive Western sanctions. These chips are optimized for LLM training, slot into existing servers, and avoid export bans by skating just under US thresholds. While NVIDIA GPUs remain king, Huawei's roadmap is clear. Build enough domestic power to train sovereign models on sovereign soil without foreign permission. In the AI arms race, chips are missiles, and Huawei is stockpiling. The consequences? Fragmentation, decentralization, multiple internets of AI. We're watching the early stages of a split AI world. Western models aligned with cloud-first APIs and open-weight releases under corporate terms. Eastern models optimized for local deployment, offline use, and national integration. This isn't just about language or licensing, it's about ideology. Who defines safety? Who controls memory? Who decides what an AI is allowed to say or suppress? In the end, AI reflects its maker sand. The world's makers are increasingly divided. But don't be fooled. This war isn't just East versus West. It's also open versus closed. Meta and Mistral are pushing for radical openness, releasing powerful models with permissive licenses, betting that widespread adoption will create loyalty and momentum. OpenAI and Anthropic, by contrast, lean closed, offering limited access, tight controls, and strict usage terms. It's a philosophical divide. Should intelligence be treated like public infrastructure? Or guarded like nuclear tech? Should we build shared neural commons? Or walled gardens with curated access? The battle plays out not just in models, but in ecosystems. Meta ties LLAMA to its platforms. Microsoft builds it into Office and Windows. DeepSeek integrates with WeChat and Baidu Search. Apple is quietly preparing health-focused AI that will live natively on iPhones. Whoever controls distribution, not just performance, wins. And for users, that means our daily tool-sour glasses, phones, chats, emails are being absorbed into competing AI networks. We aren't just consumers, we're nodes, data sources, training assets in someone else's feedback loop. And then there's the wild card, regulation. Governments are waking up too late, too slowly, but they're waking up. Europe wants explainability. The US wants competition. China wants control. But none of them truly understand how fast the tech is moving. LLaMA4's open release was barely announced before it was running in thousands of forks. DeepSeek's models are already on torrents. The truth is, you can't regulate gravity. You can only build parachutes and hope they hold when you jump. So what's next? More models, faster chips, bigger context windows, but also more chaos. As capabilities explode and guardrails weaken, we may enter a new phase where AI isn't aligned with humanity, but with its funders. And if those funders disagree on truth, rights, or safety, then the world gets fractured AI, personalized, politicized, localized. And in that world, we may not be asking, which model is smartest, anymore. We'll be asking which one still tells the truth, or at least, your version of it. We always believed dignity was tied to labor, that working made us human, that sweat meant purpose. But what happens when machines outperform us at every task, faster, cheaper, emotionless? From diagnosis to design, they no longer assist, they replace. And in their silent takeover, they ask a question we never prepared to answer. Are we still needed, or really nostalgic? Imagine a surgeon replaced by an AI that never trembles, a teacher outmatched by a machine that knows every student's mind, a soldier substituted by a drone that never hesitates. The dream of liberation has become the nightmare of redundancy. We were told AI would free us to be more creative. But the irony? It's better at creativity, too. So now, we cling to what machines can't do it. Empathy, ethics, soul. But even these are on borrowed time. AI is learning to simulate empathy. It can pass moral dilemmas. It writes poetry that moves us. Are we mistaking the simulation of meaning for meaning itself? Or worse, have we always done that? In this age, dignity becomes a question of illusion. If no one needs your labor, does society still value you? If you are no longer useful, are you still worthy? It's not just jobs being automated, it's identity. The factory worker, the doctor, the artist, they're not just unemployed, they're unneeded, and that cuts deeper than poverty. It cuts into self-worth. And yet, there's danger in resisting change blindly. Clinging to old roles out of pride may lead to stagnation, even bitterness. Maybe dignity is not in the task, but in the meaning we give it. Maybe the dignity of tomorrow lies not in competing with machines, but in defining ourselves beyond them. That is the real frontier, not artificial intelligence, but authentic purpose. But here's the hard truth. If we don't redefine dignity on our own terms, machines will do it for us. So, here we are, at the edge of everything we thought we were. Intelligence is no longer our domain. Creativity, conquered. Logic, outsourced. The mirror has cracked, and behind it, a smarter, faster, colder reflection stares back. We asked AI to think, and now we're forced to ask, who do we become when thought is no longer our own? For some, this is the beginning of a golden age where humans finally transcend work and survival. a post-labor utopia of exploration and philosophical freedom. For others, it's a soft extinction, not with fire or war, but with irrelevance. No struggle, no triumph, just fading into the background as the new intelligence takes center stage. And yet, maybe that's not the only path. Maybe the real evolution is internal. Not stronger AI, but deeper humanity. Not just asking what machines can do, but what we should do. The age of AI is not just about the myths, about us. How we change, what we protect, what we refuse to outsource. Love, justice, the sacred. We have to resist the seduction of passive existence, of letting the machine think, feel, decide for us. That is the quiet death of meaning. Because meaning isn't something AI can create, it's something we assign. And the moment we forget that, we lose the only battle that matters, the one for our soul. In the end, AI may be the greatest mirror humanity has ever built. It reflects not just what we are, but what we're not. Not gods, not perfect, just painfully human. And maybe that's the point. To look into the eyes of the machine and choose to be more than what it can copy. Because in a world where everything can be simulated, authenticity is rebellion. You've seen what AI can do. Now ask yourself what's left for us to be. Are we still essential or just sentimental? Drop your take in the comments, hit like if this made you think, and subscribe if you're ready to question everything about the future. Because the machines are coming, but the story's still ours for now. The end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to dtsynapsezero for more exciting content.